I think my main question with your business is something like this, first of all, measurable at all?
Right.
And second, when it's so easy to give people recommendations of things, doesn't that inherently damage word of mouth? I mean, I think the reason word of mouth is so powerful is you have to be in a conversation with someone.
It's the lack of scale.
Yeah, and it's the I guess the friction.
Right.
You know, I have to be talking to someone. I have to be so impassioned that the next time you're at dinner, I bring up my dry cleaner. And like that's why you're like, wow, she must really love her dry cleaner.
Yeah.
If me just sending a tweet when my dry cleaner gives me 10% off,
right.
like that's not the same equivalence in terms of, you know, telling my friends, wow, we really need to check out this dry cleaner. I mean, are you killing the very thing that was valuable by systematizing it so much?
I hope not. But the way our campaigns have worked so far is we're targeting very few people. The tens, the hundreds, like 150, 200 kind of on the wide side. And our targeting has been so, these people are so passionate about the topic. We've been able to target them so well that they can have the kind of passion you described to their audience that's connected. The bet we make is we know this person talks about this topic. We know when they talk about it, their audience responds. If we put them in the right scenario, they're going to have a conversation about it. Mm-hmm. And that conversation is going to be very frank and open. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're about. And we do think a lot about, you know, are we tainting somebody's Twitter stream, or what is influence? And that's it's part of what we're going to be learning.
Mm-hmm. What keeps you from not getting into the sleazy territory like paper posts?
We will never, we just won't, we won't pay people to tweet. We have a code of ethics, mm-hmm. or, to share on Facebook. We have a code of ethics. It instantly that destroys the value of influence of what people are saying. Like, we would be cannibalizing ourselves. So we just can't.
Mm-hmm. So how are you going to make money? Are you making money from the services side of your business? I mean, it sounds like you're doing campaigns for brands and stuff.
Yeah, so we're doing these campaigns, and they're generating, there's a little bit of revenue, but we're picking these campaigns where we're actually turning brands down. We're picking brands that are doing something that our users will love and are collaborating with us, because it's so early. Mm-hmm. We're still figuring out if what we're doing is a novelty, or can it scale, or
right.
what's going on. And being able to work really closely with the brands, eventually we'll find the ingredient. That's the bet we're mm-hmm. making, and Kleiner's making, and Greycroft's making, that we'll find there's a model in there that can scale,
right,
and create kind of like an influence marketplace.
So do you believe scale is one issue, monetization is one issue. Do you think your algorithms have solved the problem now, or not?
Twitter's changed, there's more social services. I think our algorithms right now are a great start, mm-hmm. but we're still investing very heavily in science, in research, in just our own transparency, and those things are going to be constantly living. And it's a crazy thing. We're creating these algorithms and this standard around something that is inherently soft. Influence, we would have different meanings of it. So mm-hmm. I don't know. That's part of the challenge of what we're doing.
Yeah, it goes back to my point of, can this even be measured?
Right. We believe it can. The result for us, it's action. Influence is driving action. So we're looking at retweets and clicks and engagement around conversations. How we have ideas of how that moves offline, how we can make that deeper. Mm-hmm. But the results we're seeing and that the brands are seeing are exciting right now.
Mm-hmm. How much range do you think there is in the value of a retweet, based on circumstance, based on the person doing it? Because I'm a big cynic that there's
right.
much value in a retweet at all.
The retweet, the actual retweet and where it goes, it depends. You'll see these certain things just kind of take off across the web, and certain people have so much authority around a topic that it really, that information just, I would never know something unless you retweeted it because I follow you, and
right.
I trust your voice on your ability to curate information. When we think of the value of a specific action, we try to drive it back to, do we see then me passing it on to my network in other ways. Like, am I starting to talk more later about entrepreneurship in Africa or something?
So it's the shelf life of a retweet in some sense.
The actual retweet, but it's more just the lasting value of did you plant a seed that eventually grows?
So like throwing a rock in a pond.
Right.
It's probably how some lame consulting firm would describe it.
We have the impact diagram somewhere.
But yeah, that's interesting because my answer, if someone had asked me that, I would have said it's scale.
Right.
I mean, so like an average TechCrunch story, I would guess gets 100, 200, 300 retweets. 700. But then like when I do, and so I'm always like, oh, okay, it's just 400 retweets. But then if I do a story and it gets like 700 or 1,000, then I'm like, okay, well there was something about this. So it's like it's not any one, but it's
it like catches
the ability to have these, to play games with all of the people that are online and interacting, I think, can be an indication. But you know, again, an individual one doesn't really mean anything.
Again, it's just the repetitive. It's who you're listening to. Sometimes, like I may see a post come through 10 times, but until a certain person has influence over me, then all of a sudden it clicks, and I'm like, I need to check out whatever that is. There's a lot of bots. Like you look at like an account like TechCrunch, how many bots retweet the articles. Yeah. Finding out who are the actual people that are driving real engagement, not just like hundreds of random tweets, seems like it would be valuable. Like, and you know, we're playing with how we can help, whether it's a publisher drive more traffic or people discover better things, or you know, there's a lot of things. With the data, there's a lot of ways we can kind of interpret it and make it accessible.
How worried are you about spam on Twitter? I've noticed lately, if you see a trending topic and you click on that thing,
like
frequently it's all spam. Yeah. And so it's like you click on something and you're like, well, I want to know what happened with this Tucson shooting that I'm seeing everything. And you can't even get the information on Twitter because it's all spam. I mean, like that feature has basically now become invalid on Twitter. How do those kind of things affect you?
They affect us, well, when we think of the way we measure influence, so much of it is driven of what interactions are you driving, but how influential the people are that are interacting with you. So spam, it's a problem, but it's like spammers retweeting you, or like those people are going to have low Klout scores. We try to identify spammers and bots, but like Twitter has obviously a big problem with it. So every time we think we have kind of a grasp on it, the spammers move very fast.
But it sounds like it's an advantage for you. Because if
great.
you guys are solving for the problem.
The more spammers there are, kind of the better.
Right.
And the more fragmented social media is, the better. And
that's going to be the headline for this. The more spammers there are, the better.
Please spam. We need you to spam. We have $8 million riding on this. We need you to spam.
All right, we will let you get back to spending your money. Thank you for stopping by today.